Kyvex stood in the transport bay and tried not to show his disappointment. 3 years of training at the Coalition Military Academy, top marks in xenological combat analysis, and they sent him to watch humans. Humans. The species that only discovered faster-than-light travel 80 years ago. The species that still used chemical propellants in some of their weapons. The species that everyone in the academy had laughed about. His supervisor's words still echoed in his mind. Simple assignment, Kyvex. The mining colony on Threshold 7 hired human mercenaries to deal with Vrexian raiders. We need combat data on human effectiveness. Watch them, record everything, file your report. 2 weeks, maybe 3. The transport doors opened, and Kyvex stepped onto Threshold 7. The colony was small, just a few hundred workers extracting rare minerals from the planet's crust. The buildings were standard prefab units, nothing special. He found the human camp on the eastern ridge, overlooking the main valley. There were only 6 of them. Kyvex checked his datapad 3 times. 6 humans to defend against Vrexian raiders. The intelligence report said at least 30 raiders, maybe more. The math made no sense. Either the humans were incredibly stupid, or the Coalition had made a terrible mistake hiring them. A human walked toward him, tall and lean with dark hair. He wore light armor that looked worn but well-maintained. He smiled, which Kyvex knew was a human gesture of friendliness, though it showed teeth like a predator. "You must be our observer," the human said in perfect Coalition standard language. "I'm Captain Hyunwoo. Welcome to our little operation." Kyvex managed a polite gesture. "Observer Kyvex, Coalition Military Archives. I'm here to document your defensive strategy." "Defensive?" Hyunwoo laughed, a sound that seemed too relaxed for someone about to face overwhelming odds. "Come on, I'll introduce you to the team." The captain led him through the camp. It was smaller than Kyvex expected, just a few tents and equipment cases. The other humans were gathered around a heating unit, eating something that smelled strange but not unpleasant. "Everyone, this is Kyvex. He's going to watch us work," Hyunwoo announced. "Kyvex, meet the squad. That's Tai Min, our weapons specialist." Tai Min was shorter than the captain, with broad shoulders and hands that moved constantly, checking equipment and adjusting tools. He nodded at Kyvex. "Hope you bring good luck, Observer. We could use some." Next is Ji-won, our medic. Ji-won had sharp eyes that seemed to measure everything. She smiled, but Kyvex noticed she kept her medical kit close. "Don't worry," she said. "I'm very good at my job. You'll be safe." "That's Sang-woo, engineer. If it needs to explode, he makes it happen. If it shouldn't explode, he makes sure it doesn't." Sang-woo looked up from a device he was working on. His hands were covered in grease. "Sometimes things explode anyway," he said with a shrug. "That's engineering. Yuna is our pilot, best flyer I've ever seen." Yuna was checking something on her datapad. She had quick movements and alert posture. "Second best," she corrected. "My instructor was better, but she's retired now, so maybe I'm first." "And that's Dong-ha, our scout. He knows things before they happen." Dong-ha sat slightly apart from the others, cleaning a long-range rifle. He was quiet, watching everything. He gave Kyvex a small nod, but said nothing. Kyvex activated his recording device. "Captain, I've reviewed the tactical situation. The Vrexian raiders number at least 30, possibly 40. You have 6 soldiers. The defensive position is adequate, but the numbers are heavily against you. What is your strategy?" The humans looked at each other. Then they started laughing. Kyvex felt his secondary heart skip. Were they insane? Did they not understand the danger? Hyunwoo wiped his eyes. Sorry, it's just... You said defensive position. We're not defending, Kyvex. That's not how humans work." "Then what is your strategy?" "We're going to attack them." Kyvex checked his translator. It must be malfunctioning. "Attack? You're outnumbered at least 5 to 1. 6 to 1, actually," Dongha said quietly. I counted 42 raiders in the scanning pass this morning. You see? Hyunwoo spread his hands. We have excellent intelligence. We know exactly what we're facing. And you still plan to attack? Kaivex couldn't keep the disbelief from his voice. Taemin stood up and stretched. Observer, let me explain something about humans. We're not the strongest species. We're not the smartest. We're not the fastest. But we have one advantage that matters. What advantage? We're too stupid to know when we should give up. The others laughed again. Kaivex wanted to leave, to file a report saying these humans were incompetent and doomed, but his orders were clear. Watch and document. Even if it meant watching them fail. When do the Rexians arrive? Kaivex asked. Tomorrow, probably, Hyunwoo said. Maybe the day after. They're not in a hurry. They think we'll just surrender the colony when we see their numbers. Perhaps you should consider that option. The laughter stopped. Hyunwoo's smile faded. When he spoke again, his voice was different, colder. We took a contract, Observer. Humans keep their contracts, always, no matter what. Ji-won touched the captain's shoulder. He doesn't understand yet. Give him time. Hyunwoo's smile returned, but Kaivex noticed it didn't reach his eyes anymore. You're right. Kaivex, you're going to see something in the next few days, something the Coalition needs to understand about my species. We're not like other races. We don't calculate odds the same way. We don't think about war the same way. How do you think about it? The captain looked at his squad, then back at Kaivex. We think about it personally. Every fight, every battle. It's not about numbers or logic, it's about will. And human will, well, you'll see. That night, Kaivex lay in his assigned tent and tried to sleep. Outside, he could hear the humans talking, laughing, sharing stories. They sounded like people at a social gathering, not soldiers about to face death. He pulled up his data pad and began his first log entry. Day 1. Human squad shows signs of possible mental instability. Grossly underestimate danger of situation. Recommend psychological evaluation before future contracts. He paused, then added one more line. Despite concerns, subjects show no fear. This observer does not understand why. The morning sun rose over Threshold 7, and Kaivex found the humans already awake. They sat in a circle, sharing food from heating packs. The smell was strange, something spicy and warm. Hyunwoo waved him over. Hungry, observer? We have extra. Kaivex declined politely. His species had different nutritional needs. He sat nearby and activated his recording device. I would like to observe your preparations for the upcoming engagement. We're preparing right now, Ji-won said, holding up a steaming cup. Coffee. Very important for human combat readiness. Taemin laughed. She's not joking. We fight better with caffeine. This made no sense to Kaivex. He checked his database. Caffeine was a mild stimulant. Effective, but hardly a combat advantage. What else do you do to prepare? We talk, Sang-woo said. We remember things. We tell stories. Stories about what? About home. About people we love. About why we're here. Hyunwoo set down his cup. You see, observer, fear is a tool. Every soldier feels it. The difference is what you do with it. I don't understand. Ji-won leaned forward. When you're scared, you have two choices. You can let the fear control you, make you freeze or run. Or you can use it, make it fuel. We turn fear into anger, into determination, into focus. That sounds dangerous. Emotion clouds judgment. Does it? Yuna looked up from her data pad. When my little brother was sick, I studied medicine for 3 days straight without sleep. Fear for him made me sharper, not duller. Fear can make you stronger if you know how to hold it. Kaivex made notes. This was contrary to everything taught at the academy. Emotion in combat was considered a liability. but he was here to observe, not to judge. Not yet. After breakfast, Tae-min invited Kaivex to see their weapons. The armory was simple, nothing like the advanced systems Kaivex had seen from other Coalition species. Standard plasma rifles, some projectile weapons, basic explosives. "These are your primary weapons?" Kaivex asked. "Primary, yes, but we've made some modifications." Tae-min picked up a rifle and showed Kaivex the adjustments. "This one has an overcharge function. Not recommended by the manufacturer, of course. It can fire 3 times normal power for one shot. That would damage the weapon, probably destroy it completely. But that one shot? It'll go through any shield the Vrexians have." "You would sacrifice your weapon for one shot?" Tae-min smiled. "If that one shot saves my friend's life?" "Yes. Every time. See, Observer, you're thinking about equipment cost. I'm thinking about Yuna flying back to her family." Kaivex felt something uncomfortable in his chest. These humans thought about war in such personal terms. Everything was connected to their emotions, their relationships. It seemed so inefficient. So why did it also seem so effective? Dongha returned around midday. He'd been out scouting the enemy position. He spread a map on the ground, and everyone gathered around. 42 Vrexians confirmed. They've set up a standard siege formation here, here, and here. He pointed to 3 positions on the map. They're following textbook tactics. Heavy weapons at the rear, assault troops at the front, support in the middle. "Perfect," Hyunwoo said. "They're thinking logically." Kaivex couldn't stay quiet. "Why is that perfect? Logical tactics are effective tactics." The captain looked at him with that strange smile. "Logical tactics are predictable tactics. They're doing what their training tells them to do, what their experience tells them to do. They're fighting the battle they expect to fight." "And what battle will you fight?" "The one they don't expect." Sang-woo started preparing his surprises, as he called them. Kaivex watched with growing alarm as the engineer rigged explosive charges in ways that violated every safety protocol Kaivex knew. "That's not stable," Kaivex said, as Sang-woo connected 3 different explosive types together. "You're right. It's definitely not stable. That's what makes it interesting. It could explode at any moment." "Could. But it won't." "Probably." Sang-woo winked. "I'm very good at my job, Observer. I know exactly how unstable I can make things before they become too unstable. This seems extremely reckless. War is reckless. We're just honest about it." That afternoon, Kaivex observed Yuna running flight simulations. Her patterns made no sense. She flew in spirals, in loops, in patterns that exposed her ship to enemy fire. "Why do you practice such dangerous maneuvers?" he asked. "Because tomorrow, I need the enemy to shoot at me." "You want them to shoot at you?" "Of course. If they're shooting at me, they're not shooting at my friends on the ground. My job is to be annoying enough, visible enough, dangerous enough that they can't ignore me. Even if it means taking risks." "You might die." Yuna shrugged. "We all might die. But if my flying gives Tae-min 3 extra seconds to set up his shot or gives Dongha time to get in position, then the risk is worth it. That's what a squad is, Observer. We don't fight for ourselves, we fight for each other." As evening came, the humans gathered again. This time, they played music from a small device. Songs in languages Kaivex didn't recognize. Some were fast and energetic. Others were slow and sad. The humans sang along, sometimes loudly, sometimes quietly. "What purpose does this serve?" Kaivex asked Ji-won. "It reminds us we're alive," she said. "Tomorrow we fight. Maybe we die. But tonight we're alive, and we're together, and we can still sing. That's worth remembering." "You're not afraid?" "I'm terrified," Ji-won admitted. "We all are. But fear doesn't mean you stop living. It means you appreciate life more." That night, Hyunwoo sat with Kaivex outside the camp. The stars were bright above them. The captain was quiet for a long time, just looking at the sky. "Observer, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "Every species in the coalition thinks we're crazy, reckless, emotional, unpredictable. They're not wrong, but they miss the point." "What point?" "Humans survived on a death world. Our planet tried to kill us with predators, diseases, weather, everything. We survived not because we were strong, but because we refused to quit. Because we got angry at the universe for trying to end us, and we decided to fight back. That's our nature. When you corner us, when you threaten what we love, we don't calculate odds. We don't surrender. We fight with everything we have, even if you can't win. Especially then, because sometimes fighting isn't about winning. It's about making sure the other side knows they were in a fight. It's about making them think twice before they threaten humans again." Kaivex watched the captain return to the camp. Inside, he could hear the humans talking, laughing, preparing for tomorrow. He tried to sleep but couldn't. The humans' words kept echoing in his mind. They were going to fight impossible odds tomorrow. They knew it. They accepted it. And somehow they were still laughing. Kaivex pulled up his datapad and added to his log. Day 2. Humans show unusual psychological resilience. Combat preparations focus heavily on emotional readiness and squad cohesion. Tactics appear unconventional and high risk. This observer remains uncertain of outcome. He paused, then added one more line. This observer is beginning to suspect he's missing something important. Dawn came quietly to Threshold 7. Kaivex woke to find the human camp already active, but something was different. The laughter was gone. The humans moved with purpose, faces set in concentration. They checked weapons, adjusted armor, spoke in short sentences. Hyunwoo saw Kaivex and nodded. "They'll be here within the hour. Stay near G1. She'll keep you safe." "Captain, I must ask again. Will you not reconsider? You could evacuate the colony workers and—" "We took the contract." Hyunwoo's voice was flat, final. "We keep the contract." Dongha appeared at the edge of camp. "They're moving. Standard assault formation. They think we're fortified in the colony buildings." "Good. Let them think that." Hyunwoo turned to his squad. "Everyone knows the plan?" They nodded. No words were needed. Kaivex activated all his recording devices. This was it. Whatever happened next would become part of the Coalition archives. He expected the humans to move to defensive positions, to use the colony buildings for cover. He was wrong. Hyunwoo raised his hand. "Remember, we're not trying to kill them all. We're trying to make them afraid, make it personal, make it memorable." "Understood," they answered together. "Then let's go to work." The humans moved out, not toward the colony, but toward the enemy. Kaivex followed G1, his recording devices tracking everything. This made no sense. They were attacking, they were outnumbered 6-1, and they were attacking. The first Vrexian scouts appeared on the ridge. Dongha's rifle spoke once, twice. 2 scouts fell. The others retreated, calling warnings. "Contact made," Dongha said calmly. "They know we're here." Yuna's ship launched with a scream of engines. It was small, barely larger than a fighter craft. Kaivex watched as she flew straight toward the enemy position. Plasma fire lit up the sky. She should have been hit a dozen times. Instead, she spiraled, looped, twisted through the fire like she was dancing. "She's insane," Kaivex whispered. "She's perfect," Jiwan said. "Watch." Every Vrexian heavy weapon turned skyward, tracking Yuna. Their attention was completely on her, and that's when Tai Min moved. He appeared on a ridge with his modified rifle, took careful aim at a Vrexian command vehicle, and fired. The overcharged plasma bolt burned through the air like a small sun. It hit the vehicle's shield and kept going, punching through armor, through the vehicle itself. The explosion was massive. Taemin's rifle sparked and died, destroyed by the overcharge. He dropped it without hesitation and pulled out a standard weapon. "One shot," he said into his communicator. "Worth it." The Vrexians were in chaos now. Their command vehicle was destroyed. Their weapons were tracking Yuna. And then Sang-Woo's surprises started. The first explosion came from behind the Vrexian lines, then another, then 3 more. The engineer had planted his unstable charges in places the Vrexians thought were safe. Their rear positions became fire and smoke. "They're surrounded," Kaivex realized, "but that's impossible. There are only 6 humans." 5, Jiwan corrected. "Dongha doesn't count as he's already inside their lines." "What?" Before she could answer, the Vrexian assault troops charged. 20 warriors, heavily armored, carrying weapons that could tear through steel. They ran toward the human position, roaring their battle cries. Hyun-Woo stood and walked to meet them. Just walked, not ran, not charged. Walked. Kaivex wanted to scream at him to take cover. Instead, the captain raised his weapon and started firing, not in a panic, not spraying bullets, single shots aimed and deliberate. Vrexians fell, but more kept coming. They would overwhelm him in seconds. Then Taemin appeared on one flank, firing, Sang-Woo on the other. They created a triangle of fire, and the Vrexians were in the middle. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the noise. The humans were screaming. Battle cries in their own language, raw and primal, sounds that came from somewhere deep and ancient. It wasn't tactical. It wasn't professional. It was pure, unleashed fury. A Vrexian warrior reached Hyun-Woo. The captain's weapon was empty. Instead of retreating, he pulled out a knife and charged forward. They met in close combat, and Kaivex saw something that made his blood cold. Hyun-Woo was smiling, not a friendly smile. A predator's smile. The Vrexian was bigger, stronger, but Hyun-Woo fought like he had nothing to lose. He took hits that should have dropped him and kept fighting. When he finally brought the Vrexian down, he was bleeding from multiple wounds. "Captain," Jiwan called, "let me treat that." "Later," Hyun-Woo shouted back. "We're not done." He kept fighting. Wounded and bleeding, he kept fighting. Kaivex watched the other Vrexians see this, see a wounded human refusing to stop, and something changed in their eyes. Fear. Yuna's ship suddenly dropped from the sky, engines screaming. She flew so low that her landing gear scraped the ground. Vrexians dove for cover. She pulled up at the last second and Kaivex saw she was laughing. "This is insane!" Kaivex shouted to Jiwan. "This is human!" She shouted back, firing her own weapon. "We don't fight by your rules." By midday, the impossible was happening. The Vrexians were retreating, not in an orderly withdrawal, but in panic. They ran from 6 humans. 6. Dong-Ha emerged from the enemy lines, carrying intelligence data he'd stolen. He wasn't even breathing hard. "Got their communications logs," he reported. And I may have convinced them their own command was giving conflicting orders. "How?" Kaivex asked. "I speak some Vrexian, made some broadcasts on their frequency. They think they have traitors in their ranks now." It was psychological warfare on a level Kaivex had never seen. The humans weren't just fighting with weapons. They were fighting with fear, with confusion, with chaos. The Vrexians regrouped at a distance, trying to reorganize. They still had numbers. They could still win. But Kaivex saw it in their movements. They didn't want to anymore. Hyun-Woo finally let Jiwan treat his wounds. He sat on a rock, bleeding, exhausted, and he was still smiling. "Observer," he said. "Are you getting all this?" "Yes," Kaivex managed. "I don't understand it, but I'm recording it." "Good. Because we're sending a message today. We're teaching the Vrexians something about humans." "What message?" "That we're not worth the cost. We might lose. We might die. But we'll make sure they regret ever fighting us. We'll make it so expensive, so painful, so terrifying that next time they see a human contract, they'll think twice." Jiwan finished bandaging the captain. "You're an idiot for not letting me treat you sooner." Needed them to see me keep fighting. Needed them to understand. She shook her head, but smiled. You're still an idiot. The sun passed its peak. The battle wasn't over. The Vrexians were regrouping. They would attack again. But something had changed. Kyvex watched the enemy lines and saw it. The Vrexians were afraid. 6 humans had made 42 Vrexian raiders afraid. Kyvex added to his log with shaking hands. Day 3. Combat engaged. Human tactics defied all conventional military doctrine. Results, unprecedented. Continuing observation. He couldn't write what he really thought. That he was watching something terrifying. That he was beginning to understand why the galaxy should fear humans. Not because they were strong, but because they absolutely refused to give up. Even when they should. The Vrexians regrouped faster than Kyvex expected. They were professional soldiers after all. They had leaders, training, discipline. By late afternoon, they formed up again, this time more carefully, more cautiously. Hyunwoo watched them through scopes and nodded slowly. They're thinking now. That's good. Thinking means doubting. They still have numbers, Taemin said, checking his remaining ammunition. We hurt them, but they can still win this. Then we hurt them more. The captain turned to Sang-woo. Are your presents ready? The engineer grinned. Oh, they're ready. Just waiting for our guests to walk into the party. Kyvex had learned that Sang-woo's presents were anything but pleasant. The engineer had spent the brief lull setting more traps, more surprises. Some were simple explosives. Others were more creative. Much more creative. Engineer Sang-woo, Kyvex said, your explosive devices violate at least 7 safety protocols. Aren't you concerned about accidental detonation? Very concerned. That's why I'm very careful. Sang-woo adjusted a trigger mechanism. See, Observer, there's a difference between reckless and calculated risk. I know exactly what these will do. I've planned for every variable. The Vrexians just don't know I've planned for them. The Vrexian attack came at sunset. They moved in 3 groups this time, trying to surround the human position. It was smart tactics. Against any other force, it would have worked. The first group hit Sang-woo's trapline. The explosions were beautiful in a terrible way. They didn't just destroy the Vrexians, they channeled them, forced them into specific paths, specific kill zones. And in those zones, the humans were waiting. Taemin had positioned himself perfectly. His weapons sang, and Vrexians fell. But he was talking while he fired. Kyvex heard it on the communicator. That's for making us miss dinner. That's for threatening peaceful miners. That's for making me use my favorite rifle. Each shot had a reason. Each shot was personal. The second group tried to flank from the east. They ran into Dong-ha. The scout had positioned himself in what looked like an exposed position. Suicide by any tactical standard. But when the Vrexians approached, they found the area was full of mirrors, reflective surfaces, things that made it impossible to tell where shots were coming from. Dong-ha picked them off one by one, and they couldn't find him. They shot at shadows, at reflections, at ghosts. Their discipline started to crack. The third group went for the colony directly. They would take hostages, use them as leverage. It was the smart play, except Ji-won was there. The medic had positioned herself at the colony entrance with 2 other humans. Kyvex watched as she fought with the same skill she used for healing. Precise, efficient, no wasted movement. But the strangest thing was that she was still acting as a medic. When a Vrexian fell wounded, she checked if they were alive. If they were, she stabilized them, even in the middle of the fight. Why? Kyvex shouted to her. Why heal the enemy? Because I'm a doctor, she shouted back, firing at another attacker. My oath doesn't stop because we're at war. A wounded Vrexian looked up at her in confusion as she bandaged his wound, then zip-tied his hands. You're my prisoner now, she told him. Stay down and you'll live. The Vrexian stayed down. So did the next one, and the next. Jiwan's strange mercy was more terrifying than cruelty would have been. It confused the enemy, made them uncertain. Yuna was in the air again, but her ship was damaged now. Smoke trailed from one engine. She should have landed, should have given up. Instead, she flew even more aggressively. She drew fire away from her friends, even as her ship fell apart around her. "Yuna, land that thing," Hyunwoo ordered. "2 more minutes," she called back. "I can give you 2 more minutes." She gave them 3. Her ship finally died and crashed in a controlled descent outside the combat zone. Kaivex saw her stumble out, one arm hanging limp. She picked up a rifle with her good arm and started running back toward the fight. That was when Hyunwoo did something that made Kaivex's blood freeze. The captain activated a direct communication channel to the Vrexian command frequency. He broadcast on all channels, making sure every raider heard him. "Vrexian Commander, this is Captain Hyunwoo of the Human Mercenary Force. I have a message for you." Static, then a rough voice. "Human Captain, you fight well, but you cannot win. Surrender and we will let you leave." "No." Hyunwoo's voice was calm, almost gentle. "You don't understand. We will not stop. We cannot stop. This is what we are. You can kill us, yes. Maybe you will. But before you do, we will make you pay a price so high that you will remember this day for the rest of your lives. You speak bravely for someone about to die. I'm not speaking to threaten you. I'm speaking to save you. Because if you continue this attack, we will break you, not just defeat you. Break you. We will make this so terrible, so costly that your warriors will have nightmares. Your commanders will question their decisions. Your entire fleet will learn that humans are not worth fighting." There was a long pause. Then, "You are 6 against 40. 31 now. Actually," Dongha's voice came over the channel. "I've been counting," Hyunwoo continued. "We've been fighting for 6 hours. You've lost a quarter of your force. We've lost nothing. No deaths, not one. How many more must you lose before you understand? We are not fighting to win this battle. We are fighting to make sure you never want to fight humans again." Kaivex realized it then. The truth of human warfare. They weren't trying to destroy the enemy. They were trying to destroy the enemy's will to fight. They were building a reputation written in blood and fear. "You fight without honor," the Rexian commander said. "No, we fight without mercy. There's a difference. Honor won't save your warriors. Honor won't bring back your dead. But maybe wisdom will save those still alive." Taemin chose that moment to do something insane. He took a device from his pack, a small ship reactor core, and started overloading it. Kaivex recognized what he was doing and tried to run. "Stay down," Taemin shouted. The reactor erupted in an electromagnetic pulse. It destroyed half of Taemin's own equipment. It also destroyed every piece of Rexian electronics within a kilometer. Ships fell from the sky. Weapons died. Communications went silent. Taemin's hands were burned from the radiation. Jiwan ran to him immediately. "Worth it?" she asked while treating his burns. "Look at them," he said. Kaivex looked. The Rexians were in chaos. No communications, no coordination, no advanced weapons. They were reduced to basic combat, and their numbers didn't matter anymore. A Rexian warrior, one of their best, dropped his weapon and ran. Then another, then 5 more. The retreat began, and this time it didn't stop. Hyunwoo broadcast one more message. "Go home. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them that humans keep their contracts. Tell them that we will pay any price to protect what we've sworn to protect. And tell them that the next time they see a human contract, they should choose their battles wisely." The Vrexians fled, not retreated. Fled. 42 professional raiders fled from 6 wounded humans. As darkness fell, Kaivex sat among the exhausted squad. They were treating wounds, counting ammunition, checking equipment. They were alive. All 6 of them were alive. "Observer," Hyunwoo said quietly. Did you get what you needed? I don't know what I got, Kaivex admitted. I watched something today that I don't have words for. War? No, I've seen war. This was different. This was personal, Ji-won finished. Everything humans do is personal. We don't fight for abstract concepts. We fight for each other, for the people we love, for the promises we made. That's our strength. That's our weakness. That's what makes us human. Sang-woo limped over, exhausted. Also, we're too stubborn to quit. That helps. They laughed, tired and pained, but they laughed. Kaivex recorded it all. The laughter, the wounds, the exhaustion, the victory that should have been impossible. He updated his log that night. Day 3, evening. Vrexian raiders have retreated. Human casualties, 0 fatalities, multiple injuries. Enemy casualties, significant. Tactical analysis. Human forces employed psychological warfare at a level previously undocumented. They did not fight to win. They fought to terrify. And it worked. He paused, then added, This observer is beginning to understand why humans might be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The night after the battle was quiet. The Vrexians were gone, their ships limping away into space. The colony was safe. The contract was complete. By all measures, it was a victory. Kaivex sat outside the human camp and tried to make sense of what he had witnessed. His recordings were extensive. Hours of footage showing human combat tactics, decision-making processes, psychological warfare techniques. Everything the Coalition wanted to know about human military effectiveness. But how could he explain what he had really seen? Inside the camp, the humans had gathered around their heating unit again. They weren't celebrating like Kaivex expected. Instead, they were quiet, somber. Someone was playing music, slow and sad this time. Hyunwoo saw Kaivex watching and waved him over. Join us, observer. You're part of this now. Part of what? The remembering. Kaivex entered the circle. The humans made space for him without hesitation. Yuna had her broken arm in a sling. Taemin's hands were wrapped in bandages from the radiation burns. Dongha had cuts across his face. Sang-woo limped when he walked. Ji-won looked exhausted from treating everyone. Hyunwoo had bandages across his chest from the close combat wounds. They were all injured, all alive. We remember the fallen, Hyunwoo said softly, even though today we had none of our own. We remember those from other battles, other fights. They went around the circle, each human speaking a name. Someone they had lost, someone they had fought beside. Each name had a story. Each story was personal. When they finished, they were all crying. Even Taemin, who seemed the toughest, had tears on his face. But they were also smiling. I don't understand, Kaivex admitted. You won. You survived. Why the sadness? Ji-won wiped her eyes. Because winning has a cost, observer. Even when we all come home, we remember that we might not have. We remember friends who didn't come home from other battles. We remember that war is not glorious. It's necessary sometimes, yes, but never glorious. Then why do you fight? Because someone has to, Sang-woo said. Because there are things worth protecting. Because we made promises. Yuna adjusted her sling and spoke. Observer, can I tell you something? When I was flying today, when my ship was falling apart, I was terrified. I thought I was going to die. But you know what I was thinking about? What? My little sister. She wants to be a pilot like me. I was thinking that if I died scared, if I gave up, what would that teach her? So I kept flying. Not because I'm brave, because I'm terrified of letting her down. That's what you don't understand about humans, Hyunwoo said. We don't fight because we're fearless. We fight because we're afraid of failing the people we love. Every human in this squad was terrified today. But we were more afraid of letting each other down. Tae-min held up his bandaged hands. I destroyed my hands today using that reactor. Might never regain full use of them. Was it worth it? Yes, because it saved Dongha's position. It gave us the advantage we needed. I'd do it again tomorrow. Would you really? Kaivex asked. Ask me to choose between my hands and my friend's life. See what I choose. Every time. Dongha, who had been quiet all evening, finally spoke. Observer, you're going to write a report about us. You're going to tell the coalition what you saw. What will you say? Kaivex looked at his datapad. He had prepared a standard military effectiveness report. Combat capability scores, tactical analysis, weapons efficiency ratings. All the things the coalition wanted. But it was all wrong. I don't know, he admitted. How do I explain what I saw? How do I put into a report that 6 humans defeated 42 Vrexians not through superior weapons or tactics, but through sheer refusal to quit? How do I explain that you weaponize your own fear and love and stubbornness? You tell them the truth, Hyunwoo said. You tell them what humans are. And what are humans? The captain thought for a long moment. We're a species from a death world, a planet that tried to kill us with everything it had. Predators, diseases, weather, disasters, everything. And we survived by being too stupid and too stubborn to give up. We survived by working together, by making every fight personal, by refusing to let the universe tell us we couldn't make it. Jiwon added, We're not the strongest species. We're not the smartest. We're not the fastest or the most advanced. But we have one thing that matters more than all of that. What? We care. We care about each other. We care about our promises. We care so much that it hurts. And when you threaten what we care about, we become something terrible. Sang-woo poured drinks for everyone, some kind of human beverage. He offered one to Kaivex, who took it. A toast, the engineer said, to those who didn't make it home, to those who fight beside us, to those waiting for us, to the job done right. To promises kept, they said together, and drank. Kaivex drank, too. The beverage burned his throat, but he didn't complain. Later, as the others slept, Hyunwoo sat with Kaivex under the stars. What will you really tell them? The captain asked. Kaivex looked at his datapad. The official report was ready. Combat effectiveness rating, 9.5 out of 10. Tactical innovation, excellent. Mission success, complete. All the boxes checked. But he pulled up a new document, a personal log, and he wrote the truth. Report on human combat effectiveness. I was sent to observe humans in battle. I was told to rate their capabilities, analyze their tactics, document their effectiveness. I have done this. The numbers are in the official report. But numbers do not explain what I witnessed. Humans do not fight like other species. They do not calculate odds and make logical decisions. They make war personal. Every battle, every fight, every shot fired. They connect it to something they love, something they care about, something worth dying for. They weaponize emotion. Fear becomes fuel. Love becomes armor. Stubbornness becomes strategy. They fight not just with weapons, but with will. And human will is a force that can move mountains. I watched 6 humans defeat 42 professional raiders, not through superior firepower, not through advanced technology, through sheer refusal to quit. Through making the enemy understand that fighting humans costs more than winning is worth. Do not engage humans in warfare unless absolutely necessary, not because they are unbeatable. They can be beaten. But because they will make you pay a price so high that victory becomes indistinguishable from defeat. They will make it personal. They will make it memorable. They will make you regret ever pointing a weapon at them. If humans are your enemies, make peace quickly. If they are your allies, treasure them. If you must fight them, understand that you are not fighting soldiers. You are fighting a species that survived a death world by refusing to die. You are fighting people who love so deeply that they will endure any pain to protect what they care about. I went to watch humans at battle. Now I regret ever going, not because they failed, not because they lost, but because I saw what they are capable of when cornered. I saw what they become when they fight for something they love. The galaxy should pray humans remain our friends, because I have seen what they do to enemies. They don't just defeat you. They break you. They make you defeat yourself. They make you afraid to ever fight them again. This is not a weakness. This is their greatest strength. Recommendation: never underestimate humans. Never threaten what they love. Never assume they will surrender because the odds are against them. They are not logical. They are not predictable. They are human. And that makes them the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Observer Kyvex, Coalition Military Archives. Request for transfer to diplomatic services approved. I will never observe human combat again. Once was enough. Kyvex saved the document but did not send it. Not yet. He looked at Yunwu. I'm going to tell them you're terrifying, he said. The captain smiled. Good. Let them know. Let everyone know. Maybe next time they'll think twice before they threaten humans. Maybe we won't have to fight at all. Do you want that? Peace? More than anything. Every human wants peace, Observer. We've seen enough war. But if war comes to us, if someone threatens what we love, we will fight, and we will make sure they regret it. They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars. Observer, Hyunwoo said finally, thank you for being here, for seeing us, not as monsters or heroes, just as humans. You are both, Kyvex said quietly. That's what frightens me. The captain laughed softly. Yeah, that's what frightens us too. As the sun rose on Threshold 7, Kyvex prepared to leave. The humans were packing their equipment, ready to move to the next contract, the next battle, the next impossible fight they would somehow win. Yuna waved goodbye with her good arm. Taimin gave a salute with his bandaged hands. Sangwoo grinned and promised the next explosions would be even better. Jiwon reminded him to take care of himself. Dongha nodded once, a gesture of respect. Hyunwoo shook his hand. Go in peace, Observer, and remember what you saw here. I will never forget, Kyvex promised. No one who reads my report will forget either. As his transport lifted off, Kyvex looked back at the 6 humans standing together. 6 people who had done the impossible. 6 friends who would do it again tomorrow. He understood now. Finally understood. Humans were not strong because they were fearless. They were strong because they were afraid and fought anyway. They were not powerful because they didn't feel pain. They were powerful because pain didn't stop them. They were dangerous not because they wanted war. They were dangerous because when war came to them, they made it personal. And nothing in the galaxy was more terrifying than a human who made war personal. Kyvex filed his official report with all the proper ratings and numbers. But he kept his personal log private, locked away. Perhaps one day he would share it, perhaps not. For now, it was enough to know the truth. He had gone to watch humans at battle, and he would spend the rest of his life regretting it, not because of what they did, but because now he knew what they were capable of. And that knowledge would haunt him forever.